As promised, there's a video of my work commute, 13 miles each way. Car's been on charge. Turned it off earlier on this evening, last night. The temperature is now 11.1 centigrade for the batteries, and the state of charge is basically 99.5%. I'll just quickly go through the things we've got here. The BMS screen here, I'm afraid you won't be able to see very much on that. OBD to C&C, this has got an OLED display, and IMAC&C down here, and the little button here on the steering wheel, that's the IMAC&C control. In fact, I'll reset the trip meter. So we've got, I'll reset the trip A. Start off. Away we go. It's 5 to 7 in the morning. And another fun day at work ensues. Now, on any commute, the most critical thing initially is to get the engine up to temperature, so you need to use a reasonable amount of throttle and petrol to do that. And as soon as you get lean burn functionality, then you can think about using your extra assist with the PHEV pack. So I've got the heater off at the moment to help the car heat up quicker. It's not very cold. There may be some pregnant pauses as we go through the trip. So at the moment then, I'm not using any assist at the minute, I'm just using the throttle. And at the moment we're only on 19.4 miles to the gallon. I hope we've got a reasonable view. I won't be able to check the video screen until we get to work at the other end of my commute. I may try and do another video on the way back if there's enough time remaining. I might only be able to do one a day. We're taking a left just past this lorry up ahead. Quite lucky because I live in a rural community. This time of the day going to be pretty much zero traffic about. Still in the village at the moment. I've got wide open throttle at the minute just to get speed up, also to help the engine get up to temperature. Instantaneous miles per gallon display click up, and I'll try and keep it at 100 now. And we've just done the first mile with 12 to go. A few pigeons about today. I'm also going to click on some assist. So this is the first assist of the day, first manual assist. So I've clicked on 13 amps of assist. Temperature's now up to about 54 degrees. It's still a little bit dark, but hopefully you can see as much as you need to. As we all know, the Insight engine doesn't develop much heat, and it does take a while before lean burn functionality will become available. So I'm just holding the throttle with my foot at 100 miles per gallon or just over. Temperature slowly ticking up, we're up to 58 degrees now. It needs to get up to about 68 degrees in this car before lean burn becomes available. Going down a slight hill now, so I'm just easing back on the throttle. The miles per gallon is now up to 65.2. These are obviously imperial numbers. But holding it now at 125 miles per gallon. Now you can see straight away that I drive pretty slowly. There's no need to drive fast here, and it gives me best economy. Temperature's now up to 62 degrees. soon you should start to see the lean burn light flicker into life as the air fuel ratio changes to around the 20:1 ratio that we normally see when we're in lean burn. Miles per gallon now up to 75. I'm still holding it at 125. I'm going to increase the assist a bit because I've got plenty in reserve, so I'm just clicking it up by 1 amp at a time. So we're now at 17.6 amps of assist. Just means I can just ease back on the throttle that little tiny bit extra. Temperature's now up to 68, and it's thinking about going into lean burn now. You can start to feel the engine change, and there it is. It's gone into lean burn for the first time this morning. So we're at 2.6 miles. So 2.6 miles into my commute, and I've now got lean burn available. And now it's just a question of maintaining that for as much as possible. Initially, it won't stay on that long because obviously it's got to purge a bit from that long period we've had in rich burn while we were starting off. But it should start coming back, and the period that it remains in lean burn will get longer and longer. So we're still at 17 amps of assist. I haven't needed to touch the button, just clicked it a couple of times to get the level of assist I want. Yes, and I'm going slowly. That's the way I drive. That's the way that gives me the best fuel economy. That long straight road we've just come across is known as the Mad Mile. It goes past an old RAF base. It's actually still open at the moment, but it used to have bombers in the Second World War. As you can see, it's quite a rural area. I hope the picture's reasonable quality. I hope I haven't been talking when I get to the other end for 20 minutes and forgot to turn the camera on, because that would be very annoying. So the miles per gallon are now up to 83.8. Lean burn, a lot of the time now. Just gone over 90 miles per gallon now. Holding it at about 125 miles per gallon. Once we get over, there's a roundabout coming up in a few hundred yards. Once we get over that, I'll just increase the assist very slightly. I try to keep it about 1C on my commute, because it takes me about 20 minutes each way, and 1C, which is 20 ampere hour discharge, that means I've probably used about 15 ampere hours from the cells. By the time I get there, now there's a roundabout coming up, so I'm going to click off the assist. Back into normal mode now. Foot off the throttle. Even though we're in fuel cut, the green light's gone off. Bit of regen now, just as we're slowing down for the roundabout. I'm not going to brake if I can avoid it, so looking right, straight across, 5th gear. Not even going to bother changing down. Click on the assist straight away. I'll go for 2 levels of assist. I'll go for 40 ampere hours of assist, just to help the engine avoid lugging and to get it back up to speed. Just over the very slight hill there, so I'll drop it back down again now. And just fine tune it with my finger. Hopefully you can see that. So 16 amps of assist now. Lean burn. I tried to get the injectors at about 1. I don't think it does anything particular, it's just a sort of a the engine temperature. The engine's still only up to 77 degrees, even though we've now been going for 4.5 miles. But the engine temperature is now sufficiently high that I can operate the heater if I want, so I am going to put the heater on, 19 degrees. I always use it in econ mode, with the air conditioning off. And we're now over 100 miles per gallon on the lifetime, on the instantaneous AAA reading. Instantaneous miles per gallon pegged at 150 now, using 17 amps of assist. And just checking across the BMS display, we've got 89% state of charge. So we've used about 10% in that first 5 miles. The whole secret of this is to balance the amount of power that you've got available with the distance that you need to cover before you're going to get another recharging opportunity. You don't want to exhaust the completely every time you go out, otherwise that will shorten their life. You want to use them down to about 60-70% maximum, so that they've got some reserves left and you've got some reserves left. So it becomes a mental challenge, arithmetic challenge. You know, you've got to perhaps do 100 miles and you just have to cut back on the assist or only use it to help you with hills, etc. That all obviously helps. And one of the key ways that this system does help with your miles per gallon is, unless you've exhausted the pack, there's never any forced charge, because as far as the car is concerned, because the state of charge is faked as far as the car is concerned, it's always at 19 bars. So there's never any background charging, there's never any forced charging. Only time it will charge is if I go back into normal mode and I'm regenning, or I command regen with the IMAC&C. So the engine temperature's actually dropped back down to 73 degrees because we've got the heater on, and current still 17 amps. State of charge now is 86.6, and the battery voltage is about 158 volts at the moment. Under load this is, so that's quite good. I've got the instant miles per gallon pegged at 150. I'm hoping the camera's going to have enough recording space to last for the entire trip. The battery temperature is starting to go up by a couple of degrees. Obviously we're drawing power. They are in a big block in a confined space, so they do heat up. You just have to monitor that. I've got my alarm set at I think it's 48 degrees centigrade before the battery alarm trips out. That's pretty warm. The warmer they get, the better the performance. That's something to note as well. As you can see, I don't think we've seen another car so far on this trip. It's a bit of a sharp right hand. I'm not going to slow down. Actually, somebody coming the other way. That's quite unusual. So I've still got the miles per gallon pegged at around 150, and the trip A now is showing 113.4. With a bit of luck we might get it up to 125 by the time we get there. We've done 7 miles now, so we've got another 6 miles remaining. I'm hoping that the video is not too blurry or jerky. Dropping out a lean burn now to do a bit of a purge. See the AFR, well, you may not be able to see it, but it's gone down to 13.9, pretty standard for when it's purging. Certainly the first part of the purge just enriches the mixture. Now it's back to lean burn, 20.9. Seems to be what it hovers around on my car. The lean burn percentage does, or ratio does change very slightly from car to car, I found. As you can see, it's a very relaxed drive to work. It's quite a pleasant morning. The air intake temperature is now showing 8 degrees, and the engine temperature is still only up to 74 degrees, so we're not wasting any fuel. All the fuel that we're burning is either propelling the car forward or is being used by the heater. There isn't any excess being wasted in the radiator or anything. So that's another optimisation technique. If we got the engine too hot, or we were using lots of throttle, obviously we would be wasting excess heat in the radiator, but we're not doing that because the thermostat valve is probably not even open, probably not even anywhere near open yet. So the petrol is being used in the most economical fashion. The battery voltage is still around 158 volts. We're 16.8, 17 amps of assist still. The AFR's gone up very slightly, and I'm dropping my foot almost completely off the throttle now. We're coming down to a slight hill, downhill. Very early in the morning still. trip A reading is now up to 122.2, and this was from a cold start, remember, with the trip reset before we'd start the engine. Now, can't see it, but this is actually a slight uphill here, so I'm going to click on some extra assist, so I'll put in 40 amps now. Just helps the car up over this when I don't have to change my position on the throttle. Trying to keep it hovering around 1 on the OBD 2C&C, so now dropping back the assist again. Now we're back to 17 amps. Actually somebody coming the other way. So I do this journey 4 times a week. Well, I do it 4 times every 8 days. We work 12-hour shifts now. So I start work at 7 o'clock and I'll be back to 13 miles back in the other direction. Now the trip A is up to 125 miles to gallon, so it's inching its way up. And there's no need to rush on this trip, so I take my time, optimum economy, trying to get that delicate balance, offsetting the fuel with electricity. Certainly in the United Kingdom, the cost of petrol is horrendous, and electricity is taxed at a much lower rate than fuel, so it pays me to use as much electricity as reasonable, bearing in mind the life of the cells, etc., to offset as much fuel as I can, because that gives me optimum economy from a financial point of view as well. Now the batteries are now 14.8 degrees, so they've warmed up by 2 or 3 degrees. Still pulling 16.8 amps of assist. Now we've done about 10 miles now. 3 miles to go. This is a good length commute. It could probably do with just being slightly longer. 20 miles is probably in around an optimum, I would think. That way the car gets up to temperature, and then you have a reasonable amount of commute in when you can utilise lean burn. It's dropped out of lean burn at the minute just while it's purging. Back in lean burn again. If the commute's too short, then obviously you've got to get the engine up to temperature, otherwise you don't get lean burn, and then you just don't get the opportunity to use the power that you really could. You really need to be doing at least 10 miles in my opinion. So I've still got the bar graph pegged at 150 miles per gallon. Trip A now is 127.5. Obviously this is imperial, but I can't remember what that is in US, but we're probably getting up to 100 miles per gallon US now. Our state of charge is now down to 73.6. So by the time I actually get to work, we'll probably be down to about 65. That means that I've got then 65% state of charge to get home, and I'll probably use 35 of that to get home. That'll leave me with 30 or so, which is about optimum. You don't want to completely deplete the cells on a regular basis. You can do, of course, but they obviously have a cycle life. But you do want to get maximum use out of them, so it's no point just not using them. So try to use them, but try to keep them within probably the top 60% of their state of charge. 128.4. I'm going to give it a little bit more assist here, crank it up to 40 amps. It's a slight hill, you can't really see very well. And over the top of the hill, straight back down again. Now we'll be coming into the town where I work very shortly, so I'm going to start easing back on the throttle, dropping right back, and I'm going to cut assist in a moment. Roundabout approaching Northallerton, this is where I work. So I'm cutting assist now, back to OEM mode. Just got my foot right off the throttle. Eject meters are only 0.62. Roundabout coming up now. I'm going to try to avoid braking. Hopefully this time of the morning I can manage that. So looking ahead, nobody about, so I'll crank on the assist again, straight across. A couple of runners on the left hand side out jogging with the dog. So I'm quite lucky in this respect that I have a fairly traffic free commute. Dates and the times of day that I travel luckily are outside the rush hour periods. So I've got assist back on again now at 16.9 amps, 17 amps. Take a leave at 0.1 of an amp, and the state of charge is now down to 70%. So we've basically got on the road, got the engine up to temperature, cranked on assist, and you go basically. So I'm going to drop off assist now, turn it off. Down to a slight slope, and the camera will probably joggle away here. We're going over a level crossing. Hopefully my shoulder's not got in the way of the picture today. There's another roundabout coming into the centre of the town. It's a small town. So I'm off the throttle. I actually have to change gear for the first time since we got out of my village. Third gear, straight back into fifth, and I'll give it a bit of assist. Don't want to use any petrol. And trip A, we're now at 131.5. Squirrel running across the road ahead of us. Coming towards the high street in the town. And my workplace is down the other end of the high street. 12.7 miles, so we're nearly there now. Going to take a left here at this roundabout. Just keep a watch out to the right. Traffic lights here. And there it goes. So I'll just give a bit more assist to get through these, hopefully, before they change. Oh, looks like it's the fair this week in the town, which is not what we wanted. Generally means it's going to be busy. Town. See, I'm doing 25 mile an hour. That's the May Fair, tradition in the area. Cut assist now because we're nearly at my place of work. Straight across here. Nobody about. We see this morning at the moment. Bus on the left. Right, I'm turning right now. Can't see it, but my office is just behind this building on the right hand side. Straight into the car park. So trip A now 134.9. That's not bad from setting off from cold. State of charge 68%, so I said about 65, so that's not bad. And the battery temperature is 16 degrees. It's gone up by 5 degrees during that time. Now I've got 12 hours at work now, so that will cool right back off again. Oh, cool. Into auto stop, 134.9, 13.3 miles. Battery temperature 16 degrees. So I hope that was useful and interesting. Let's see how I operate the car. Turn the heater off, ready, so it's ready to warm up quickly when we start off again when I leave work later on. I'll upload this later on and hopefully you'll find it interesting. So that's the advantage you get. Basically use this whenever you want. No background charging, and Bob's your uncle.